Hi everyone! Today's review is the Colouring Heaven magazine for this month and it's called Mermaid Special. It features 40 intricate and exquisite mermaid designs by Anastasia Eli Koldarova. So we all know of Anastasia. She is one of the most well-loved colouring book illustrators around. As you can see, she has a beautiful style and incredible talent, and her colouring books are among my favourites. So let's get straight into it. You can see we've got a couple of mermaids on the cover here, and then on the back we have this rear shot of a mermaid looking over at either the sun or the moon, sat on this really crusty barnacled old rock with crabs and starfish and shells on it and stuff like that. So everything you would come to think of when you think of a mermaid book. So we all know about Anastasia, but I'll just read out the little introduction. It says that Anastasia is a Russian artist and author of mermaid legends Serenity, Nocturnes and Mysteria, from which the designs in this issue have been taken, as well as Dragon Tales and When Dragons Dream. She creates her original fairy and dragon character artworks using ink pens, markers, coloured pencils and watercolours, finding inspiration in Slavic and Celtic mythologies, nature and the underwater world. So there you go, you can go and find Anastasia on Instagram as well, and it's straight into the illustration. So this first one, we've got a mermaid who looks like she's telling these odd looking seahorse Loch Ness kind of looking creatures to be quiet for some reason. She's surrounded by little bits of coral and anemone, or however you say it, and seaweed and things like that. So as I go through the book, you'll notice that the majority of the illustrations are a very clear, crisp line art, and there's not too much shading. So there are a couple of them as we go through that are a little bit more shaded and give you kind of ideas on where to put your highlights and shadows. But for the majority, it is the crisp, clear line art like this. So I think a lot of these are taken from the Mermaid Legends book, because I don't actually have that one and I don't recognise an awful lot of these. There's a few sprinkled in that I do recognise from the books that I do have, Mysteria, Nocturnes, etc. So we've got this girl here with some freshwater pearls in her hair and on her bracelet, and she's listening into the shell to see if she can hear the sea. So as we know with Anastasia's work, it's all about the portraits, the beautiful ladies, and you'll see if I just turn this way around, we've got a lot of hair going on in this as well. So hair and faces and skin is sort of what you'll get with Anastasia's work. So we've got a couple of fish sort of intermingled between the hair here, which looks kind of like waves, so it's got that whole sea look to it. And while this doesn't have to be a mermaid, you can colour it as anything really. It does obviously work with the fact that we've got water lilies and things in the hair and bits of seaweed as well. So this one is just closed in a circle with a few features just peeking out of the edges there. We've got a couple of koi carp, and this girl looks like she's fallen asleep at the bottom of the ocean, and she's just having a really relaxing time. So this is the one from the back cover, as you remember, this rear look at the mermaid sat on the rock, and I don't know how you would colour this with all the light being at the front from either the moon or the sun. So it would have to be backlit almost, everything would be in shadow, but of course you don't have to follow standard lighting protocol, you can colour it however you want. So this girl here is holding on to this really interesting looking conch shell. It's a fantastic shape, and again all of those different elements are included within the weaves of the hair, like the coral, the fish, the shells and things like that. So this one, she has a really interesting body, this one, because you can see that not only is her tail, it's kind of got like a zebra pattern to it, but it also runs up her back as well. So it'd be really interesting to see how people tackle the line between the body and the tail, and how to blend out the colours in the tail into a more natural skin colour if that's what you're going for. But what I really love about this is we've got what I believe is a lionfish decorating this illustration, and her fins and a tail kind of emulates and copies the fins on the lionfish, so it all ties in lovely. So this one, she's asleep again, she's so lazy, this mermaid. We've got, I think, what are these? They look like lobsters, hopefully I'm right. And it looks like she's lying on the ocean bed again, and we've got all these beautiful kind of aquatic plants coming up to surround her as well. So again, with the tail going right into the body, you've got the pattern, you know, right up into the torso as well. So I just can't wait to see how people decide to colour these. And again, loads of different underwater themed plants. So this one you will recognise, I believe it is the front cover to Nocturnes. As you can see, it is quite heavily shaded. I wouldn't say it's completely grayscale, but it is nicely shaded so that you will know where to put your cheekbones in and, you know, the sides of your nose and things like that. So I actually prefer these images with a bit of light shading. It just gives me a helping hand, really. And you can see we've got a beautiful shell surrounding her eye. And yeah, it's just gorgeous. I particularly love when she does this really hyper-realistic work. So we've got a mermaid and a merman here. You can see that their tails are intertwining. It's all very romantic. This would be a nice one to colour for any Valentine's colour-alongs that you may be entering next month. So she's sat on a rock again. Her tail is nicely coiled around her. That's a really nice image. And she's hugging this, again, what I think looks like a seahorse from the top, but then sort of trails off into a Loch Ness Monster type tail. Yeah, but again, really, really sweet image. Some bubbles and things. You can decide what you do with the background, obviously. But I do like that it's just a centered piece. It's not a whole scene. So you can sort of take your time on bits of it and you don't have to worry about backgrounds if you don't want to. So another one that is enclosed in a circle, and you can see she's peeping up just above the waves here. And below we've got all of the creatures and things. What I really like about this one is the ship's wheel here. You can see maybe from a shipwreck, or she's been collecting parts from ships like Ariel. So this one is actually holding a candle, which is quite interesting. I don't know what kind of candles mermaids have down there that can stay lit in water, but you know, it's a magical world, isn't it? I wouldn't put it past them. And we've got obviously these big sort of flat fish. I'm no good with fish or plants or pretty much anything. So I don't know what kind of fish they are, but yeah, beautiful. Oh, this is the one that I've started last night. I was watching Night Stalker on Netflix. It's a new documentary about serial killers, as you do. And this one was coloured as I watched all of that. So I think there was 4 episodes, so 4 hours, and this is how far I got with it. So I'm using Prismacolor for the coloured pencil parts of the image, and then I've used these pens here. These are hybrid dual metallic pens made by Pentel, and they are a gel pen that change colour depending on, you know, which way you twist them in the light. So I don't know whether you'll be able to see, but let me just focus it. But they do actually change colour. So the orange one changes into like a gold or a yellow, and then the blue is also purple. So yeah, I really like having some nice shiny scales going on. I'm not too pleased with the bra. I think I overdid it a little bit with the pens and the paper started pulling up a little bit. But yeah, I just like having that little bit of shine on there. So I'm excited to see what this looks like when I finish it. As you know, it takes time sometimes for me to actually come back to something and finish it, but I'll definitely do it. So I'm really pleased actually with the skin tones on here. I started off with, for the man, I started off with chocolate. These are the pencils that I used. Chocolate, sienna brown, burnt ochre, beige sienna, and then some eggshell, I think. But it looked really, really yellowy. It wasn't the kind of skin tone that I was going for, which was sort of very tanned but kind of slightly sunburnt as well. So I went over the whole thing with a white pencil, layer of white pencil, and then it still didn't look right. So I decided to come in with some henna, which really brought out the bits of sunburn and made it look more like a flushed skin colour rather than a kind of jaundiced colour, which it was looking at the time. And yeah, so I did the henna and then a little bit of peach as well. And I think I went over the whole thing with light peach. It's got about 300,000 layers on there. So I don't think I could rework it or do anything else to it, but pleased with the skin. The mermaid skin was lavender for the shadows, then a bit of henna again, and peach for the lightest bits. So yeah, I like how different they are. You can see she's got quite a fair skin tone, but it's got a little bit of ethereal feel to it because of the purple. And yeah, I also like, I like all of it, but I like how I did the denim. I used denim blue and non-photo blue, that's it. And just made sure to leave the creases a little bit white, so we got that shiny look that I always do in my colouring. So yeah, that's it. Hope you like it. So the next one is a little mermaid girl. So she's sat on the ocean floor and she's got her beautiful mobile made out of shells. I've actually got something similar to this in my garden. I'll try and take a picture of it if it's not too wet. It's always blooming raining here. She's got a little hanging ornament made out of fishbone and little puffer fish and other little cute trinkets that she's got kind of hanging down there as well. And then obviously you've got your shells, your crabs, and things like that. So she's actually holding a shell here, and her tail is really, really nicely just flowing away from her. And it's very cute, very whimsical image, especially like when they do children in colouring books. It just gives you a little bit of something different to do rather than women's faces all the time. It's nice to see children. So this one is another circular one, and she's just holding on to the edge of the rock here with the starfish and the little cockles and things. So this is a little bit more shaded. You can see her hair is going all over the place like it would if you were underwater. And there's lots of fish with the giant bulbous heads. Are they just normal goldfish? I think they are, aren't they? Just surrounding her. This one, she could be on the ocean floor. We've got all these odd looking life forms down here. And she's got what look like poppy flowers coming out of the hair, but they're probably not. But again, it's all about the face, the expression and the eyes with Anastasia's work. They really draw you in. Okay, so this one's going to be quite tricky to do. You can see that she has tried to emulate the puffiness of a jellyfish with the costume here that the mermaid is wearing. Actually, it's not even a mermaid, she's got legs. So that's going to need some sort of transparent, iridescent type of colouring to get that jellyfish look. I'm not entirely sure how to tackle it. I may have a go and you'll see the results, but this is probably the one out of the book that I'm most excited to see coloured by someone else, just to see how they tackle that that very thin kind of see-through jellyfish texture. So we've got this mermaid here just peeping up out of the water, loving this beachy wave hair and the little lilies, I think they're lilies, that are surrounding her. Nice to have a different viewpoint as well, seeing her in profile. This one has some turtles, as you can see. This would be great with a kind of Finding Nemo theme, and again from a different viewpoint, so you've got the whole back to colour. Now we've got the Octopus Mermaid. So I think that these are all her tentacles, because it kind of seems like it's going up into her skin and fading out. And she has the most weirdest hair. It's like twists and turns that come out into almost horns. So yeah, it's a really kind of out there one. It's interesting. This one is again a bit more grayscale. So she's got the fossils here that she's cuddling up to, because you know that's what you do. This one has a lot of sort of coral and things in her hair, so I think this would take a little bit longer to spend your time on doing. But as you can see, her hair kind of sprouts out into these coral patterns, and it's all very entwined, and it might take a while to figure out what's what. But beautiful illustration again. I really like how the barnacles are sticking to her skin, so she really is part of that environment rather than just being in it. It seems to have taken over. So this is really sweet actually, because it's almost like a crescent moon that she's sat within. And I've seen this sort of composition before when someone's sat in the crescent moon, and it's always beautiful. So we've got an anchor here, we've got a crab, what else? We've got a compass and jewellery hanging from her tail. So these are probably things that she's collected from the seabed that have fallen from ships. We've got a message in a bottle, and again those beautiful shell danglies. So here we've got a cute baby seal with a mermaid, and there's lots of these rough raw crystals both in the background and in her headdress as well. So I actually have a crystal colouring tutorial for multicoloured crystals that are just like this. I'll leave the link in the description below in case you want some ideas on how to tackle it. So another sleeping mermaid. I swear that's all they do is sleep and steal things from ships. But yeah, we've got the lily pad type plants going on around there. Different kind of hair, it's very coiled, so you can tackle that as well. So we've got another mermaid from the back here. Really, really like this hairstyle, how she's got the braid wrapped around the pony. Yeah, I think it's really decorative, this one. You can see her skin has a lot of floral patterns on it. Beautiful. Okay, this is another landscape one. No shading on this. So it almost looks like this is an underwater cave and the mermaid is sort of guarding it or just hanging out by the mouth of the cave. And again, you've just got all your various underwater paraphernalia. This one, she's actually crying, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe she's been woken up early, I don't know. But again, pearls and things sort of intertwined in the hair, and you can see the scales are actually here embedded into her shoulder. Here's one with lots of floaty coral and lots of little Nemos going around, little clownfishes, or clownfish? I suppose it's just clownfish, isn't it? Now this one, I'm pretty sure I've actually coloured this or something similar to it. If I find it, I'll put it up on screen now. But I'm sure that the one I coloured was shaded. But again, you can see she's holding the shell to her ear to hear the sea. And yeah, I really like these confined ones because it doesn't feel like too big of a job that you've got to do. Another mermaid looking at some different fish. I won't even try to decipher what these fish are. This one here looks like the one from The Little Mermaid. What's his name? Is it Flipper? I can't remember. This one is really intricate. So there's lots of tiny weeny gaps on this. You can see she's lying down again. Yeah, and we've got a shoal of fish. Again, I don't really know what they are. But I suppose with mermaids, it's all about the detail and the pattern on the tails and trying to make that look as beautiful and alluring as you can, I guess. Another circle one. So she's kind of curled up on her knees here, looking a little bit down, a little bit upset. Oh, maybe it's because she's lost her tail. She has feet, you see. So I don't know what's happened to her, but she is now on dry land. And this one has crab claws around her neck. I've actually coloured crab claws and did a little bit of a tutorial on it. I don't think I did it as a video. I think I did it as a picture tutorial. But if I find it, I will link it in the description because that should really help you colour these crab claws. Next, oh, this is the kind of illustration that scares me because I don't like it when hair and things come over skin. It gets in the way and I know that I'll smudge them. So maybe this is something that might be better done with markers, for me anyway. The final illustration is one that I've definitely coloured before in Anastasia's previous books. And again, it's one of these circular portraits. So absolutely fantastic Colour in Heaven edition. Some of them are hit and miss, but I think we'll all agree that this one is absolutely beautiful and it's a must-have, I think, for all colourists. Anastasia's work is fantastic, as we know, and I think if you love mermaids, you'll adore this book. So links in the description to buy it wherever you are in the world, and of course if you want to subscribe and get it every month and things like that, you know the drill. You've heard all my Colour in Heaven spiel before. It'll all be in the description. So thank you so much for watching. Please give a little thumbs up if you've got the time, and don't forget to subscribe if you can. I will see you very soon on Colour with Claire.